Everyone. Janet is going to help me with a skeleton demo for this lesson, which is going to be in side lying. And of course, one of the very first things we want to do is to be comfortable lying on our sides. And you can see the skeleton all set up and that his head is supported. And Janet, would you show what happens to the head and neck when there's no support underneath? So, and then add the support again. So you can see that there's this nice continuing line for the spine when there's support. And when you take this support away, you can see the angle that the neck it can do, but can be a little bit more of a source of tension. And we're going to be doing some movements where it's helpful for the neck and the spine to be in this nice long line. And this is a lesson that's going to explore the shoulders, and we're going to do a reference movement where we put a jacket on and off. So you can think about that movement. And we want to look at what makes up our shoulders to begin with and how it connects to the arms. So Janet, would you show where the arm bone is coming into the shoulder? People can see that nice round ball joint there. And we actually have a little ability to roll or rotate the arm, a small movement without asking or inviting the shoulder to do a lot of movement. And you might feel it as you're watching this and see if you turn your arm a little in and out, if you have a little range that you can rotate the arm before you begin to feel the whole shoulder joining in. Thank you, Janet. And now if you would come to the scapula, which we also call the shoulder blade, and outline that for folks. And often when we do our scans lying on the back, we ask you if you can use the contact with the floor to feel that shoulder blade and feel it on each side and any differences. And then one of the movements, simple movements we can make with the scapula is to move the shoulder, and in this case, with the shoulder blade, a little forward and a little back. So Janet's going to show how that shoulder blade can glide over the ribs. You can also see that invites the ribs to move a little bit as well. We'll look at that from the front also. And then we're coming back to the middle. So it's a simple movement forward and back to the middle. And then can you show us how it moves back? Glides back, comes closer to the spine, comes back to the middle. Like us, the skeleton can be a little sticky sometimes. Thank you, Janet. And now pausing there again on what we're going to call the middle, where the neutral position. Let's see how it works for the shoulder blade to go a little up. So the shoulder blade's coming up to the ear. Maybe you give a little shrugging movement. You feel that shoulder blade come up towards your ear. And then it can relax back down. Again, sort of that neutral place, starting place. See it gliding over the ribs underneath. And then let's give this, let the skeleton move the shoulder down a little bit. Sometimes that's a movement that we lose track of, that sort of easy gliding of the shoulder down. And you'll notice the arms resting along the side. We're gonna, in the next movement, if the arm comes to the floor in front, stays relaxed, we're not working the muscles of the arm, there's a little support with the arm. Let's see if there's a possibility for the skeleton to move his shoulder and a little bit back and up and down. So an arcing movement, coming back and arcing up and down. Beautiful. And you can see that the ribs on top are invited to make a little movement. And maybe you're noticing that there's some reciprocal movement, synchrony with the underneath shoulder blade, just a tiny echo of the movement. And also the changing contact of those underneath ribs. It looks like he's enjoying moving his shoulder, just arcing a little up and down, gliding movement. Thank you, Janet. And now we're going to give Janet time to come around to the front and see how all of this works from the front. And when we talk about the shoulder blade, when we're talking about the shoulder and the shoulder girdle, the parts that are involved are the scapula that we've just been seeing, and you're seeing coming into view the clavicle. And can you see how the clavicle rests over the ribs and connects into the scapula? Beautiful. And where else? What's at the other end of the clavicle, which we call the collarbone? You see the breastbone and the sternum. So when we think of our shoulder girdle, we have all of these important and interconnecting pieces that are part of moving our shoulders. And Janet, if the skeleton would like to move his shoulder a little forward and a little back. Let's see how that looks. And you can see that Janet's actually pulling from the elbow. So one of the ways to help yourself find this movement a little forward and back is to imagine someone coming and giving your elbow a little pull forward to help you and back. And you can think about whether it goes in a straight line forward, and let's let him go a little bit back also. And you can see he can make some movement back and have a little movement in the ribs without rolling all the way over onto his back. Very nice. Now let's see the up and down movement. And what partnerships do you see in place for the shoulder to make the up and down movement? Where else is there movement? You can even think about the sequence of the movement and see what you see. Very nice. And Janet, let's see if we can see a little bit of an arc movement. Coming forward and arcing up and down in the front. So you can see that the clavicle and the sternum are as important in being able to move our shoulders easily as moving the shoulder blade in the back. I think that's great. So let's end it there.